So let's do the chanting immediately. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dudayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dudayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dudayambi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tatayambi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatayambi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata gate gate parasam gate bodhi soha. Tayata gate parasam gate bodhi soha. Tayata gate parasam gate bodhi soha. If you see me giggling to myself or a little bit of funny movement during the prayers, even though you probably had your eyes closed doing the prayers, I'm on a swivel seat, one that goes up and down as well. And just recently, it's been slowly going down. And it did it a while ago as well. And then it come good. So I didn't worry about it. But it's just started to happen the other day as well when I gave a teaching for Metta Center on Wednesday. And then it came good. And then it's been doing it just now. So I'm slowly going down. If you see me disappear down to the bottom of the screen, you know what's happening. I'm probably going to have to get a new chair, not a new chair, but utilize, another chair from the house somewhere. Maybe put a cushion on it because I think the lounge chairs are too short. And so anyway, so if you see if you see me going down, I'm not going to the hells, hopefully. All right, so let's do some meditation now. Let's release the tension in the body. Get comfortable, nice and relaxed position for you. And bring your mind to the bottom of your body, to the feet, all around your feet, and release whatever tension you may have there. And then the lower leg. All around your knees. And your upper leg. Around your midsection. And the upper part of your body. Work your way slowly up, especially around the spine, the back muscles, up to the upper trap muscles and the shoulders. Down to the tips of the fingers. And up to the top of your head. So obviously working your way to release the tension around your neck and back of your head, sides of your head, all around your face. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw or frowning. And now just scan the body, the same way as we just did, except more brief. And just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. And if there is, do so. Now bring your mind to the tip of your nose initially, and let's follow the feeling of the breath as we breathe in the nose all the way into the lungs, and then back out your nose again. So breathing in and breathing out. You can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 to 10. But if you get distracted on the way towards 10, then go back to 1 at that time. So if any thoughts arise or mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Don't try to force it away either or deny it, but simply and naturally let it go by replacing your mind onto your breath. And if your mind starts to become dull, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves and fill ourselves with universal loving kindness, utilizing the visualization of your whole being filling with the white light, which represents the universal loving kindness. Also bringing to mind that universal loving kindness is not separate from universal compassion, universal joy and equanimity. You are your own best friend. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness now that it overflows, radiates outwards, radiating from your heart center, and not diminishing, by the way. Universal loving kindness, immeasurable loving kindness. Radiates from your heart center, enters into the heart centers of your loved ones, family and friends, and fills them with the universal loving kindness too. Have the wish that they are happy and engage in the causes of happiness, that they are free from suffering and free from engaging in the causes of suffering. They are peaceful. Now do likewise with beings or people that we may regard as strangers, whether we know them a little or not at all, and do likewise. And they'll also include those you may regard as enemies. Once again, do likewise. And now we can extend this loving kindness out further and further to include all sentient beings now. Around your immediate area initially, all sentient beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful, radiating this universal loving kindness to them in the form of the white light. All of the sentient beings now. The ones that live on the land and under the land, fly through the air, live in the waters, whether they're born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Now, further and further distance-wise, we should radiate our loving kindness throughout our whole state or county. And other states and counties throughout our whole country. And all of the countries throughout the world, those you're familiar with, those you have an affinity towards, those you're indifferent towards, and those you may have some negative feelings about. Also have your loving kindness pervade throughout all of the oceans and bodies of water, and down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And beyond this planet alone, throughout the solar system, and all of the solar systems throughout the galaxy, and all of the galaxies throughout the universe and beyond. Have your loving kindness pervade throughout infinite space with no limit, immeasurable, whilst also being present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And so my chair's playing up. Or playing down, actually, not playing up. It's during the meditations, it went down twice, but it seems to be stable at the moment, so I'm not going to move too much. I tend to be expressive. I think that's the word. So I do move, obviously, especially with the camera being so close. Maybe it looks like I move more than I do because that's the nature of when you got a camera up close like that. But yeah, it's very difficult to stay totally still, isn't it, when you're talking, trying to make some points. And yeah, I'll try to find another chair. But you know what? Probably get to the class on Wednesday and I've forgotten to do it. Maybe get to the class next Saturday and I've still forgotten to do it. So maybe it'll be a talking point until I actually finally get a different chair. All right, so it's a nice chair, by the way. That's why I use it because it's very comfortable, you know. So had a busy afternoon this afternoon. Lots of extra stuff. You know, there's things in life. It's interesting, you know. This chair could be included in this. The extra stuff. You know, when you've got plans and you have enough time to implement those plans, and then but then extra things happen. And then all of a sudden you get put behind with the times. This afternoon, for instance, after lunch, I'm going to cook, which I have. But I was going to finish it before class. But then I had to do extra bits. You know, there was some bit of burnt toast down in the bottom of the toaster. So I had to clean out the toaster and do a proper job. Little bits like that. You know, the dog was a little bit needy. Just extra stuff. I can't remember the other things, but it just seemed to happen. It was, oh, that's right. Mum ran out of coffee, so I had to open up the new jar, the big jar of the coffee, put it in the smaller jar. 5, 10 minutes, no big deal. But when you've got it planned down, you know, what I've been cooking is just some steamed cabbage and steamed carrots and mashed potatoes. I cook them in the pressure cooker, and it's about 1/3 normal potato, 1/3 sweet potato or yam, and 1/3 pumpkin. And then what I do is I utilize the water from the steamed vegetables as well as from the steamed vegetables in what do you call it again? Pressure cooker. And then I utilize that to make gravy. And so it's got the flavor of the vegetables. It's very nice, you know, all vegetarian, of course. And then, of course, what I do is I just pan fry up some tofu, just slice it, you know, and then that's a very nice lunch for tomorrow and the next day and the next day maybe. But yeah, I haven't quite finished. The all the potatoes are still in the pressure cooker, and the tofu is not cooked; it's just sliced, and the gravy has not been cooked, obviously. So yeah, it does just life though. And then all of a sudden, I looked at the clock and it was about 4:45 and I thought, oh, I have to get myself together and came back upstairs and Mum was still watching a movie, I think, still had headphones on with them watching the TV and it was 2 minutes to 5 and I said, come on. So apologies for being 1 minute late today. It was just a mad rush at the end. Lucky I had my phone on me, otherwise I possibly wouldn't have looked at the clock. So, you know, the best laid plans sometimes don't happen as you think they will. And so non-attachment, maybe a good sense of humor is a good thing to keep all the time. When things aren't quite going as you want. Of course, there's my little troubles this afternoon are very small, but in fact, not even troubles. And but this also can apply, or this practice can apply if you have big things in your life as well that go wrong. You can keep some sort of like calm mind, some sort of sense of humor, a little bit. Maybe not sense of humor sometimes, but just keep the mind stable and keep moving forward. If you're doing stuff, then keep doing stuff, but with a calm mind. If you don't do it on time, bad luck. Doesn't matter. The sun still comes up tomorrow. That's a point, and a little paragraph that I wrote years ago about to do with happiness mainly, but actually it's to do with Buddha nature ultimately. And that is, we think the sun goes down at nighttime and comes up in the morning, but actually the sun is always there. In fact, if it wasn't, if that didn't happen, with the sun, the planet going around the sun and the planet going around, rotating, whatever. If that didn't happen, then one side of the earth would be too hot, wouldn't it? To live, to house life. And the other side would be too cold. So this kind of keeps the balance. And anyway, the point is this, that the sun is always there. So we think our happiness goes away when we're unhappy. But actually, it's always there. We always have the potential for that. And on a deeper level, the Buddha nature is always there. It's always marvelous. Within the greatest people, kindest people, most compassionate people, also with the evil ones, you know, still Buddha nature is always there. Just like, like gold, for instance. The pure gold is still pure gold, even if it's all covered up with grime and rubbish and everything. So we always have the potential, always have the chance to be happy, to be calm, to be peaceful, and also bring to mind often that your true nature is Buddha nature. And then all of the other extra stuff that happens won't seem so big, and even the big stuff won't seem so big. All right, so obviously we are having the commentary still on Master Atisha's heart advice, and we've stopped towards the end of it because these 6 verses relate to the 6 paramitas, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time, at least 1 week, on each one to refresh you. If you have already learnt about the 6 paramitas, as you remember, we spent about 8 or 9 months on this a few years ago. And also, I've given some other talks on this as well, okay, or included this in some talks, like brief explanations, things like that. And so I thought we can have that, but also for anybody who's hasn't received teachings on the 6 paramitas, and then you can hear them. For instance, when I did give the 6 paramita commentary that I gave about 2 years ago for the Metta Center, there was one of the regular people there that actually said that they hadn't heard about the different types of generosity. Maybe we just think generosity, okay, it's like that, opposite of greed and things, or morality is like that, opposite of immorality, things like that. But don't realize that there's different types of this. There's three major types, you could say, of each of the 6 paramitas. It makes 18 points. You can even expand further. So she didn't realize that there was these different types, and it helped her. She said that helps. I spoke to her later, and it helped her to realize how to be more generous, and the generosity wasn't just, um, giving material aid or giving dana, offerings to the monks and nuns and so forth. That it includes even giving a good vibe, giving kindness. It's included in everything, really. So we've had a look at generosity, the 3 types: generosity, giving, the giving of material aid, excuse me, the giving of protection from fear, and the giving of the Dharma. Then last week we spoke about morality, or sila, can also be known as discipline, moral conduct, ethical conduct, and the like. And so the discipline of relinquishing unwholesomeness of the body, speech, and mind, of adopting and practicing wholesomeness, of the body, speech, and mind, and also of benefiting others, the three types of morality or discipline. And so today we've still got about, I think maybe about 10 or 12 minutes or something. And so we can talk about patience, of which we've covered many times. Patience is very, very important, as are all the other ones. But patience is, mentioned so much in commentaries and teachings on on Buddhism, Buddha Dharma. For instance, it's one of the longest chapters in the Bodhicharyavatara, or the Way of the Bodhisattva by Master Shantideva. Patience is mentioned, lots and lots of verses there. I remember the Dalai Lama giving lots of teachings on six paramitas over the years, both that I've attended, face to face in person, but also things that I've seen on video, teachings I've seen on video or heard on CDs or tapes back in the day, and spends a lot of time on patience. Obviously, we won't spend that much time, but we should contemplate it. Imagine if you are more patient. Think like that. What wonderful, or how wonderful it would be. You wouldn't get angry as much. You wouldn't sort of impulsively react to things as much. You wouldn't be intolerant to certain people or beings or situations, circumstances. The more patient we are, the less angry we are likely to get. The more patience we are, even the less frustrated we'll get. And this is why I spent a little bit of time, by the way, on talking about not getting what I wanted this afternoon and having extra stuff. Because patience, I was did the work, did what I had to do, knowing that I wasn't going to finish what I intended to finish, but just continue. You don't have to sort of get distracted and talk too much and things like that. Just focus. So whenever you are doing something, be patient. If you are not doing something, be patient. You don't have to always do something. Of course, I think a lot of people think, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. Okay. So the actual verse says, what's this that's come up on my thing? CC cleaner. Go away for a moment. I'll CC clean later. Okay, so we have, maybe we CC clean. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. It's like a cleaning thing for the cleaning tool for the computer, the laptop. Cleans files and stuff like that. And so it's called CC Cleaner. And so since hatred is rife in these impure times, don the armor of patience, free from anger. So before I talk about the three types of patience, let's have a look at these words, dissect this sentence. So hatred is rife in these impure times. So this is an impure time. There's materialism. There's a lot of impurity in the world. Mentally, of course, that's where purity or impurity is, in the mind. But then a lot of people following through with their actions and words. A lot of negativity in the world today. And part of that is expressed through hatred. People get jealous a lot, envious, try to outdo each other. But what for? What is the point? What is the point of getting angry? What is the point of acting out on hatred or with hatred? We just harm ourselves, Maybe it looks like we're harming, the object of what we want to, or who we want to harm or get back at or something, but actually we're just harming ourselves. So it is said in the Bodhicharyavatara, the Way of the Bodhisattva, something like, I'll paraphrase, something like this, that, if you, even one act of anger, one outburst of anger destroys something like 100,000 lifetimes of good karma or something like that. But basically, we can say that it destroys so much good karma. We practice, we develop this merit, virtue, and then we get angry. At that moment, the mind becomes disturbed. Lack of peace, at very least. That's harming ourselves. And also, I've mentioned before that, the body starts to smell. We release all of these toxins. And us human beings like to smell nice, like to impress others, even though we don't have to do that really, ultimately. But we do that quite often. Or always really, the eight worldly concerns are in play. Want to be praised, not blamed, and so on. Okay, but then we get angry. We not only look ugly, face all distorted, um, lots of what are they called? Wrinkles and things pop up. We get red face. We sweat. The toxins are released and get bad breath. All of these things. So if you want to smell nice and want to look nice, don't get angry. Relinquish hatred. So we are hurting ourselves when we get angry, and so we become impure when we are angry and when we are acting upon hatred. So relinquish it. As soon as it arises, as soon as you feel like it arises, is arising. Okay. Like the third verse again, or the eighth verse of thought transformation. Um, the moment a disturbing attitude arises, I will basically face it and relinquish it at that moment. The moment, how's it go? Moment a disturbing emotion arises, in danger of myself and others, I will firmly confront and avert it. Okay, so the next little bit says, whoops, my glasses are on the ground now. And here goes my seat. You what? Excuse me, I disappeared. And it wasn't even the seat. I didn't take the paper out of the plastic today, so I couldn't read it without my glasses on because it's shiny. So since hatred is rife in these impure times, covered that, don the armor of patience, free from anger. So we've covered that as well. And the armor of patience, we can say it's armor, because armor like patience, because we are protecting ourselves. Just as a soldier in the army or whatever has armor. Of course, we're talking about a long time ago, the knights and things like that. And so we must be patient if people are trying to harm us or we are being harmed. Must be patient with this. Not react in anger or with hatred or vengeance, try to get back at them. Just remove yourself from the situation, obviously. But we don't want to give in to anger and fighting back. So be patient with you, utilizing patience in your mind. Patience is a very strong state of mind. It's not passive. It's actually very active, but calmly active, relaxing active, stable. It's flexible and really strong, like I said. Then, of course, we must be patient when we experience difficulties, small ones, larger ones, especially on the Dharma path. How are we doing for time? 2 minutes. Especially on the Dharma path, we want to, um, we're going to experience the results of some bad karma, especially if we're purifying the bad karma, which hopefully we are. And then, of course, it ripens as something smaller than it would if it wasn't purified and quicker. So we're going to experience some difficulties. See it as part of the path, not as a pain in the butt. Be patient. Don't get upset. Look after your mind rather than giving in to any negative emotions. And my seat is playing up now. Wow, I'm really going to have to fix that. And so I'm slowly going down. And so patience with any difficulties on the Dhamma path. armor like patience, like mentioned, but also patient with the not understanding the nature of reality. So you can say patience with the nature of reality. In reality, what we're doing there is being patient with our lack of understanding. So don't get angry at the Dharma. Don't get angry at the teachings of emptiness and Buddha nature and so on, because then we stop ourselves from having the ability to understand them, not only now, but sometime in the future. Okay, so patience when being harmed, patience when experiencing difficulties, and patience with the nature of reality. I rejoice in your meritorious goodness, in your studies, practice, and sharing of the Dharma. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Hopefully I remember to get a new chair next week, or a different chair.